me get myself together here. Hello, everybody. No, that light. Okay, guys. Let me see if I move it over here. That's a little better. Nope, the light. It's a light of shadow in here. Okay. No, I don't like it. Sorry, y'all. Gotta get myself set up. Let me see if this will work. All right, that look a little better. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Y'all come on in. Tap the screen. Make sure you are following our vote counts second page. If you're not, if you see a little plus sign at the bottom there, then you are not following it. So make sure you are following it. My second moderator in charge, my co-host, my co-moderator is here. But make sure you are following our vote counts too. If you are not yet, we would appreciate it. Thank you everyone for being here. We will be talking to Mr. Terry Jackson, who is in here. Looks like he's already here. But he gonna have to wait a little bit till I finish telling everybody about him. No, we're gonna bring him on up. We're gonna bring him on up because he might have to correct me because we do our research, but it might not be right. But so we're gonna bring you on up, Mr. Terry. See, when he sent you an invite, so try accepting that, and if you can't, you may be trying to get on a computer. It will not let you go live on a computer. So you will have to do a tablet or cell phone. How you doing today, Miss Blessings?
I'm good.
All right, perfect. Well, let's talk about Terry Action Jackson. He is a Democratic candidate that's running for the U.S. House of Representatives in Maryland's 5th Congressional District. He is a lifelong public servant with a deep commitment to fairness, accountability, and community-centered leadership. While he was born in Wilmington, North Carolina, he is now a citizen of Maryland. He spent part of his youth in foster care and found purpose and opportunity through discipline and service. At 17, he enlisted in the United States Navy, where he served for more than 2 decades. Rising through the ranks, becoming a surface warfare officer, and earning dual bachelor's degrees in criminal justice and political science while on active duty. After retiring from the Navy, he continued serving the country as a federal employee with the Department of Navy and later the Department of Justice, including work as a physical security specialist. Now he's a civilian leader, a husband, and a proud father of 4 daughters. And again, he is running for Congress to bring honesty, compassion, and results to Washington. So his message for the people, his message is for the people, not the powerful. So this reflects his belief that the government should work for everyday Americans rather than special interests and wealthy donors. So, okay, hold on, let's see. Are you on the Terry for Congress page? Let me see here. I'll send you another invite. We'll see if that works. So I don't know why this is not allowing you to come up. Like I said, if you on a computer or laptop, it's not going to let you come up that way. So you have to be on a phone or a tablet.
Since we got everybody here, I'm just going to reiterate, send your daily heart me's, share, repost the live. Thank you all for being here. It's Friday. Melanie, it's Friday.
It is Friday,
Hey,
which
everybody.
I am super happy about.
Well, it's been a long week.
It has. It's been a long year.
Okay.
It's been the longest 9 days of a year I've ever had, child. I promise you.
Mm-hmm.
Terry, the only page I see is Terry FOR Congress. That's what page is coming up as you're typing. Terry FOR Congress.
Yeah, and I don't see another page in the room unless it's a private page.
Yeah, if it's private, then OVC would have to bring you up, but maybe that's the thing.
Did you send the invite?
To the one that's in here, yeah, but not to, I don't see a Terry for Congress, the number 4.
Okay.
All right, y'all, make sure y'all tap in that screen. Make sure you send your daily heart me's, and make sure you share this out. Now, the best way to share this out so that you can see your shares is to click on the host box. Click on, like, hold your finger down on the host box, and then a list is going to come up. And then you could just hit invite. And that way the share numbers will go up. If you do the share and then share it out to multiple people, it only shows as one. So in order for us to show that the shares have gone out, you have to click on the hostess screen, this screen over here. Look at me. I can't even do it. This screen right here. Click on that, hold it down. And then like I said, you just hit invite. Let me see. I don't know, Mr. Terry.
Maybe leave the app and come back in. Maybe it's some type of glitch going on. That's the only thing I can suggest. Leave the app and come back in. And hopefully you're on a phone or a tablet. Oh. Oh, you can't join the pan. Have you had his account more than a week? Because I think you had to have it for at least a week on a cell phone. Okay. Have you had your account more than a week?
Yeah, I should let him up.
Mm-hmm.
But with only 8 followers, he might not be able to cut his camera on though. I mean, if he couldn't come up, it wouldn't give us the option to
invite him.
Yeah.
I'm on the live screen ready. Oh, are you live on your own page?
Yeah, no, don't go live. Come out come out of your page at Terry Jackson.
The other page, yes. That's where he must be. Terry for Congress.
Right. You gotta come out the live and then join this live, and we're gonna bring you up.
Yes.
I don't know unless we can do what they call it but we can't do that with people. Can we do that with people on there? Like do a share?
OVC will have to, but he said no. I'm not live. Just ready to go live.
Okay.
Terry, I'm confused. I can't lie. Are you trying to go live from the page you're commenting on or a different page? Well, welcome in everybody. I'll say that again. Welcome in everybody. Welcome to Our Vote Counts. We're trying to get the candidate up here so we can get started with Terry Jackson running for Maryland U.S. House, 5th District.
Right. Now, Alice, now you know good and well we didn't request him up. What the
He is not on the computer. He is on the cell phone. We're just having some, I don't know, technical difficulties.
Ayana, go take your medicine.
Well, I was gonna save this for when he's up here. I'm trying to debate if I should save it or not. Should I say it now?
Yes.
Okay, I'll say it now. The person that's in his seat, I can remember Hoya. He announced yesterday he's not running for
Hoyer's
re-election.
not running?
No.
Girl, he been the daggone representative for that district for probably as long as I've been living. I swear I didn't seen Hoyer name all my growing up. Like he's been in that seat for a long time.
Yep, he is not running anymore for re-election, so it is now an open seat. Fair game. I kind of want to hear his thoughts on that. That the
Right.
person
Let me see.
Let's see. Carrie, did you come back in the room? Let me check. What do you guys think about that in the comments?
Yeah, so Steny Hoyer has been in office. Or maybe not as long as that. Well, no. Hold on. Yeah, no, he's been there for a minute. Hold on. Let's see, American politician, right? He has, right, okay, so as the U.S. representative for Maryland's 5th Congressional District since 1981. I know I wasn't tripping. That man has been over this. I didn't know the districts back then, but I know his name because he has been in that seat since 1981. I was born in 77. So all my daggone life, I didn't seen this man, and he has decided not to run anymore.
I won't tell you when I was born.
So he's definitely been in all your life.
Absolutely.
Yes. So yes, he has done so much. In the there, but yay! We got it together, y'all.
You can join down there. Okay.
All right. You got it? Now let's
Yeah, I
see.
have it, but it didn't work like the directions that you emailed me. It didn't work that way. It worked on some different ways, see? So I gotta.
Are you able to turn your camera on and use your background?
Yeah, I sent him the invite.
Let's see if I can get the background to work. I didn't get in here the way that you guys had it set up. Because I had the live page set up, ready to go into live. I had the background up and everything. And I never got an invite.
That's what I said. But the page you're on is Terry FOR Congress.
No, it's Terry. The number 4. That's what I was telling you in the chat.
But no, we're telling you that right now what we're seeing is Terry Jackson FOR Congress. That's what's on your page right now.
I ain't used that page in a long time.
That's what page you're on at this moment.
Oh, I don't know. That's crazy.
All right. So you trying to cut your camera on?
Yeah, but I don't have the background, so.
That's all right. All right. Is it in your phone? Is the background in your phone?
Yeah.
Okay. So just click on you click on your screen.
Okay.
And at the bottom, you're gonna scroll all the way over till you see an arrow. When you click on the arrow, that's gonna give you some options, and you scroll over to green screen.
I got it. Okay.
Okay, when you get to the green screen, click the first one. Choose that background, and voila, there you go. Now let me put mine back on. There we go. Hello, Mr. Action Jackson.
Hello. Sorry about that little technical hiccup. I don't know why four Congress is coming up like that because I don't use this account at all. I got like 3 because TikTok has been very mean to me and has disabled a couple of my other accounts.
Oh no, that's not good. So we're gonna be on our best behavior, say all the right words tonight, right?
Correct.
Um, well, I'm telling you, me and Miss Blessings are absolutely excited to do this as I am currently living in the DMV. I am in 4 though, but I've lived in District 5. I lived in La Plata for quite a long time. But I'm in Temple Hills now. And Miss Blessings is from Bowie, correct? Or lived in the Bowie area?
No, I'm from DC, but I do have family that live in Bowie. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And we have
Yes.
somebody in the comments that's in District 5 currently.
Yes, Miss Nikki. She's from District 5 now too. So that's your constituent that we got to talk to today, right? She got to figure out how to vote for you. As Blessings just gave us some news that Mr. Steiny Hoyer decided to not run again. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I woke up to like 20 text messages about that yesterday morning when I
That's
woke up. So
yeah. I told him, I said, I didn't, as far long as I've known, this guy has been a representative for Maryland. So, it was like, what? Okay. So, we're going to get this started since we behind a little bit, but that's okay. I'm going to start off with a little icebreaker. Okay. Name a childhood memory you would love to go back to today. Like if you could rewind time and go back to that day, give me that memory.
well, childhood was questionable, but I guess I can think of one or two. Uh, I would say I was raised in the country. I was born and raised in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I know you can probably hear a little bit of the country come out when I say that, but like as a country boy, I loved having the woods around my house. And I did the crazy stuff that young boys do. I would go out there. I would take like chop down bushes and trees and stuff like that, and I would like take some like fishing line, and I would like bend a stick, and I would make like a makeshift bow and arrow, and I would take a knife and sharpen wood and make throwing spears and things like
Uh-huh.
that. Just doing crazy stuff that young boys do out in the woods. And I like to hunt a little bit, so I think doing that, I would go out there with my BB gun and like shoot at birds off power lines, just the little knucklehead stuff that kids do. So those were the good memories that I had with just being out there and being able to be in the wilderness and being able to just run around and be free. Living a careless
Careless young.
childhood. Didn't
Yeah.
have a care in the world, just kind of out there on my own, exploring nature and just kind of, either by myself or, with cousins that would come over and play or some friends after school, but just kind of being carefree. That's one of the things I miss most about childhood now is just being carefree, not having a problem in the world. So I look at my 9-year-old daughter now, and she's just sitting there, and she's clueless about everything that's going on in the world, and I miss that childhood innocence. I mean, you can call it ignorance or whatever to what's going on around you, but just that innocence, you really take that for granted when you're a child, not knowing what's going on in the world. You're just kind of in your own little zone, focused on having fun, being a kid. So those moments are really something that I miss right now.
100% agree with that. I mean, it was nothing like being a kid and not having a care in the world. Okay, so I'm just going to remind everybody who OVC is. We are our vote counts. We are a nonpartisan movement uniting Americans from all walks of life to empower voters, support candidates of integrity, and ensure every voice is heard through education, outreach, accountability, and action. We're building a stronger democracy, one informed vote at a time. So remember, everyone, your vote is your power. Again, we are here tonight with Mr. Terry Action Jackson, and as you can see, he is running for Maryland's U.S. House of Representatives, 5th District, and for the Democratic Party. And we're going to go ahead and get this started with our first category of economic development, and Ms. Blessings is going to lead us off.
All right. So, first question for you. Many residents in the district commute long distances for work. What would you do to bring more good paying jobs closer to home?
So thank you for that question. And it is a real issue here. And right now, if you like, you're familiar with PG County. PG County is essentially a bedroom county, right? People live here and then they transit out. They go to Montgomery County, they go out to DC, or they go down into Northern Virginia for jobs. So when there are not jobs available in close vicinity of where you live and you have to get on the highways and commute there or take mass transit, you're effectively leaving your homestead to go out in order to be able to support your livelihood. And from being out in the retail conversations that I've had when I'm out canvassing and things like that, when I'm just engaging with people, what they tell me is they want jobs here where they live and work. They want to work where they live. And so we need to do this in two different ways. One is we need to get more aggressive in attracting corporations and businesses that come into the area here. We need to incentivize them with federal funding to, advocate on behalf of PG County specifically to make sure that they come here and invest those dollars here. And that will help us on so many fronts. It will help us increase our commercial tax base, which will in turn lower property taxes and give people some breathing room there, because housing and rent are another issue that I'm sure we'll get into later that I can tie that back into. And then on the other hand, we need to make sure small businesses not only are able to start, but they're also able to flourish here in PG County. Right now, the issue that we're having with small businesses is they're essentially the backbone of PG County specifically right now, because we don't have large corporations coming in here. I looked at a map the other day and I saw, because I see a lot of Amazon trucks driving around PG County, Upper Marlboro area, all the suburban areas in PG County specifically. And I was wondering, well, where's the nearest Amazon distribution center? And I looked at it, and it just so happens they are all right outside of the 5th district. There's like 3 in the 4th district, but there's none in PG County in the 5th district area. There's none down south in St. Mary's or Calvert or anywhere else, or Charles County. And, we need those kind of investments here. We need distribution centers. We need, those warehouses, those businesses here to have good paying jobs locally. And right now we're relying heavily on small businesses. So small businesses need to be able to get access to capital. They need to have a streamlined process to be able to help them get through the permitting and the licensing and all the other requirements. And so what I want to do, if elected, is I want to work hand in hand with the local Chamber of Commerce in each county. I feel like on a quarterly basis, we could have a meeting, whether it's virtual or in person, to where, we have a conversation. Tell me what's working, what's not working, what complications are you having? Work hand in hand with the Chamber of Commerce, and then be kind of a bridge between the Chamber of Commerce and the Small Business Administration via the Constituent Services Portal. That way, small business owners don't feel like they're left in the dark. Because when I've had conversations with them, they feel like, okay, they get half answers from the Chamber of Commerce, and then they get abandoned during the process, and they don't really have the follow through that's necessary there. So I want to engage the constituent services portion of my office to be that bridge between the Chamber of Commerce, the constituent with the business, and the SBA. Also, we want to increase funding for that way people have access to the capital they need to not only start their business, but a lot of people want to open additional businesses. If they're a franchisee and they got one business open and it's going good and they're flourishing, a lot of them run into roadblocks when they try to expand that business, or they try to open up a new one, maybe in another part of the district. And we need to be able to remove those roadblocks from that and allow people to do that. And the last point I'll make about small businesses is a lot of times people end up getting themselves in debt or having financial strain because whether the small business is currently being constructed or there's some other operational delays that are causing it to not open in a certain amount of time, we need to have some kind of a bridge there, some kind of a relief or some kind of a grace period so small business owners don't acquire debt, because even if the business isn't operational, 9 times out of 10, the small business owners themselves they're already paying a mortgage on that business. They're already paying rent on that business. So they're already going into the red before the business is even open. So we need to have federal assistance there to be able to provide to the states be able to help bridge the gap. That way, once they actually start the business and it's operational, they're not already bleeding. So those are the things that I want to do. Like I said, we really need to get more aggressive on the federal funding here and driving these businesses in here. Instead of building more townhomes and gas stations, we should be building more industrial parks. So it's pretty simple to me.
Thank you for that answer. And as soon as you said the Amazon, I thought immediately, I know there's one in Lanham, and I think that's right outside.
It's right on the line. I checked. Yep.
Yep, it's on Martin Luther King. Yes.
Correct.
Exactly where that is. So you already kind of touched on this one. That was about small businesses. So I'll go to the next one. Aging roads, limited transit options, and infrastructure gaps make it harder for businesses to expand. Well, you can expand on this. How would you use federal investment to strengthen the local economy? So you kind of started touching on the federal investment part of it.
There's a lot of static coming through. I don't know where it came from.
Oh, I think it was the gifts. I'll read it again. It said, aging roads, limited transit options, and infrastructure gaps make it harder for businesses to expand. How would you use federal investment to strengthen the local economy?
By strengthening the infrastructure. So we use these federal funds to get in here, and if we're going to attract more businesses, right? These businesses are going to bring more people into the district, and a district that is already kind of overburdened with people. That's why they're building up houses. I understand that, but we need to make the housing more affordable, and that's a different aspect of it. But if we're going to bring these businesses in, we also have to have funding that accompanies that to fix our infrastructure. There are places throughout the district where we can widen our highways. There are investments that we can make in smart intersections, intersections that, they have sensors in the ground that can sense that there's traffic, or you can use cameras. If there's no traffic in a certain lane, you can skip that light at the time and then move traffic or favor traffic in one direction over another. Like, there are innovative ways that we can strengthen our infrastructure to be able to accommodate more business and more people coming to the district. There's one thing that's been working, that's been in the works in this district that I learned about since running. I don't know if you guys know about it. You might. It's called SMRT. You guys ever heard of the Southern Maryland Rapid Transit System? It's supposed to be a connector from Southern Maryland up to Branch Avenue. It's supposed to link up with the DC Metro. So that, you might not believe it, and I couldn't believe it either, but that has been in the planning phase since the mid-90s, and it's still in the planning phase. They haven't even broke dirt on it yet. They haven't even broke ground on it yet. So that needs to be made a federal priority project. Okay, and that's something that I'll advocate for when we go to Congress, to go ahead and let's get past the planning phase. Well, let's finish the planning phase, move past it, and actually get to work on that project, because that will alleviate so much of the headache, especially on 301 and the Maryland 4 and 5 corridors, to alleviate that traffic and help people get home. Because right now, people they live in PG County, specifically in Charles County, they have to drive 45 minutes each way during heavy traffic. And that's time they're losing with their families. They could be at home having family time, but yet they're still stuck in traffic for 45 minutes. So about an hour and a half of their day round trip is stuck in traffic when they can be home with their families.
Absolutely. I told you I lived in Waldorf and La Plata. Baby, I don't miss that drive. I don't miss that drive.
I experience it now. Now that I'm traveling around the district, I sit in it every single day. Today I was down in Waldorf and La Plata. I was down there today earlier, doing some canvassing and stuff and some visibility. And on the drive back, by the time I got to where 214 intersects, I was sitting in traffic all the way home back to the house, and it was ridiculous.
Well, I want to thank you for those answers. I want to see if anybody in the chat has a question for Terry. They can request up or put it in the chat, and we will ask it for you. I don't think there's any questions right now, so I'm going to pass it off to Buttermilk to talk about the healthcare agenda. Oh, I think we have a request.
Oh, looks like we do.
Okay.
I was going to say blessings. You don't see me?
This is your
Hi, Terry. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm a Waldorf, Charles County resident. And my question is, a lot of people don't know, but in Charles County, we have Indian Head Naval Base And in St. Mary's, there's Pax River Naval Base, Nav Air. But Steny Hoyer did a lot to make sure we kept those bases in our districts. What will you do to help us preserve those bases?
Simply stated, we got to keep them viable. They have to keep serving a mission. And if we can do that, if we can prove on a daily basis, year over year, that those bases are essential because we're investing in those the right way and keeping them relevant to the economy and to the missions that they currently serve, then there won't be any issue for them. And I applaud what Steny Hoyer done for those, because I know the BRAC closings were a real pressure point for the military a few years ago when they were trying to apply cost savings across the board by closing what they deemed to be, military bases that weren't serving a full purpose. So that's how we do it. We advocate for PACs. We advocate for Indian Head, the research facilities. We do everything that we can to keep those viable and make sure that they have what they need to stay in the fight. That way, if this ever comes up again, PACs and Indian Head aren't even a question.
And one more thing. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Are you coming to my meet and greet on Tuesday?
And it's in Waldorf or La Plata?
The West Branch Library from 4:30 to 7.
Okay, I'll put it on my calendar right around the corner from my house. Thank you. Y'all can drop me.
Awesome.
Right.
We have
We do
one more
have
person.
Yep. And we have another person that wants to come up and ask a question. Risa?
Ms. Risa?
I don't know if she knows she's up here. Risa?
You guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Welcome to the panel. You may ask your question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. I don't know if she can. Oh.
Maybe she can't hear us.
Yeah.
We can hear you, Ms. Risa. Can you hear us?
Okay, I can hear you now. Can you guys hear
Okay.
me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I'm going to be really quick. I only have one question, and I'm out of Ohio, but I see that you're running for the House, and thank you for your service. But I want to know, what are your thoughts on data centers and the legislation on AI and the environment?
Yeah, three of those, right? Okay, so start off with data centers. I understand the purpose of data centers, and I understand, given the technology that we currently use, the importance of cloud storage and computing power and all those things, because that's what data centers are. It's just a big box with a bunch of servers in it. Now, the impact that has on the economy and the residents in those neighborhoods where they're going to be developed is what concerns me the most, because we all know the issues with data centers. They take up a lot of space, they make a lot of noise, and they use water to cool, and they use a lot of electricity. So what does that mean for local residents? That means higher utility bills. That means noise pollution. That means inconvenience. So you have someone who bought a house there 10, 15 years ago, never would have thought that a data center was going to be out their back window, 15 years later. So what does that do to the property value? What does that do to their ability to sell the house? What does that do to attract new people here if there's surrounding housing developments coming up around it? People aren't going to want to live there because they already know the impacts. And that's the residential impacts and affecting the culture. We haven't even talked about the environmental impacts, what that's doing to the water usage, the utility usage. We already have people complaining right now about PJW, the interconnect that connects to 13 states and DC, right? I seen posts on social media the other day from Maryland specifically. People were blaming Pepco and BGE for the increases in their electric bills, because their electric bills are going up by a few $100s or more. I think I heard one person say it was like $1,800. So people are really feeling the impacts. What people don't understand, and why I'll hit that caveat while I'm here too, BGE and Pepco, they are essentially the wires and the poles. They're the infrastructure of our power. PJW is the interconnect, and they're the one that charge the rates for that. So that has nothing to do with BGE and PEPCO specifically, but I digress. And to get into your next point, well, data centers, the environment is very important because I don't want to see, people's utility bills go up. I don't want to see the environment get ruined. So I understand data centers, and I feel like a lot of these commissioners, these city planners and things like that have these meetings on here, they do that for a check in the box. I went down to Charles County a couple months ago before the holidays and attended their planning meeting with their planning commission that they had. And you could already kind of hear it in their voice and see it where they were already kind of sold on the idea. It's like I don't want to, say anybody has any kind of impropriety or anything like that, but just the way they were talking and trying to convince everyone, because they were talking about the money. Oh, it's going to be a huge tax, revenue source for the district, for the county and everything. They kept throwing the money out. Then they were throwing out about the jobs, saying, 5,000 jobs. But then when you stand up and you hit them back and say, yeah, $5,000 jobs for the 2 years of construction that happens. And then once that happens, the data center can run between 25 and 75 people. And most of those people are going to be brought in because you have to have specialized training and certifications to run an AI data center. So those jobs wouldn't even come from the home base here itself anyway. So once you bypass all the smoke and mirrors about that, it really comes down to, data centers are going to create a major burden on the residents, on the economy, on the environment, and it's going to have very little benefit for the residents there. It's just going to make our lives miserable because we're going to be dealing with the effects of it.
Absolutely.
Now, your next point, you mentioned the environment. So, given Maryland's specific structure, I know you're in Ohio, but Maryland specifically, we're essentially, an island with three sides of water. So it's important for us here to build up our coast. Coastal resilience is a big thing here. We need to actually fight erosion. We have a big erosion problem along the coast. We need to make sure that we are investing, integrating funds with FEMA, making sure that we shore up the shoreline, making sure that everything is good down there because, a lot of the economy of Calvert County and St. Mary's County, rely on, those watermen down there, making sure that they have survivability and are able to produce their jobs. Make sure they actually have good paying jobs and they can still kind of, move forward and progress. Because if we don't fix the coast, those two counties in particular are really going to take a hit. Charles County, PG County, we're kind of protected because we're a little more inland, but definitely, out on the shorelines, we need to make sure that we're working for those watermen, make sure that we have strong coastal resilience. Now, for the climate overall, I don't think climate change is a hoax. I believe it's 100% real. You can just tell by the variations and how, one day it's 70 degrees, the next day it's 25 degrees. I mean, there's obviously an impact. We do need to eliminate our greenhouse emissions. I definitely support the Green New Deal. I'm all about investing in different types of energy, wind energy, solar energy. I don't understand why we have this obsession with fossil fuels. I understand back in the day it was a major job creator, but just like everything, we progress. So we need to progress and we need to embrace all types of energy, not just be so reliant on oil all the time. During the Biden administration, we were drilling at more than any time in history. And now we're invading other countries to steal their oil because we're just oil hungry. It's all about profits. So we need to invest in other things. And what was the third point that you had?
I think you covered them.
Pretty much. I think you covered them all. I did have one question about AI legislation and putting boundaries on AI.
So you hear Republicans all the time say, and I know I'm in a Democratic primary, but I'm going to hit on this too. So you hear Republicans always talk about states' rights. They want state rights for AB. They want state rights for other things. But when it comes to AI, they're trying to push back on the states and not allow states to run AI. AI is something new to us. We're still adapting and adjusting to it. And I think until we get a handle on it, it definitely needs to be regulated. And I do think that states need to be a part of the conversation. I'm not going to sit here on a live and sit here and say 100% that I think one party should or one entity should do it over the other. But I think there should be mutual discussions between the state legislatures and the governor, and then coordinated at the federal level. Just kind of like we do everything else in this country. We are the United States of America, so we should all have input into how we regulate and structure AI, because as we all seen, AI can be used for good, and then it can be used for bad things too, things that we don't really want to happen in society. So I think it should be a partnership between the states and the federal government to figure out what that looks like. And right now, AI is still too new. We still don't know the extent of what AI can do, and it keeps getting more and more advanced. So we really need to step back from this issue and study it more before we, push forward on who has control over who can do what with it. Does that answer your question? Good.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you for being here. And I want to thank Our Vote Counts, because the work you guys are doing is so important. Thank you. You can drop me down.
Thank you, Risa. Thank you so much.
For coming up.
All right.
All right, back to Melanie.
I know you're used to calling me that. So, Mr. Terry, I so appreciate your detailed answers. We have 6 subjects to go through by 8:30. So, we're gonna make sure we try to get all of these in tonight. I'm going into healthcare and women's health. That would be the subject I'm going to do at this moment. And we talk families in District 5 are seeing increased mental health needs, especially among children and caregivers. How would you strengthen mental health services so people can get help when they need it?
You have to have more mental health professionals, and you have to make it accessible. That's the simplest way I can say. So we have to invest in healthcare. Mm-hmm. We have to invest in these people, these professionals, so they can be available to provide the resources. And then we have to make the means. We either have to provide transportation mechanisms to get people to and from, or we have to make telehealth a standard. Make it a standard option. If people can go and they want to do in person because they feel more comfortable with that, or they may not, be able to utilize technology, then we need to do that. We need to do whatever we can. That's what I don't understand about our government right now. Why does the government do everything? I'm sorry, I feel like I'm about to rant, but just bear with me. Why does the government make everything so difficult for its citizens? We should be doing everything we can to make things easy for people. Make it as convenient, keep it within the law, keep it legal, but make it as easy as possible for our very own citizens to have the things that they need to make their lives better. I don't understand that for the life of me, why we do that. We need mental health professionals, and in places like my district is so diverse. I have urban areas, and then I have the more rural areas, St. Mary's County, Calvert County. Mm-hmm. Part of this is infrastructure, expand broadband so they can have telehealth services, because they don't have hospitals down there. And the way the government has been going with closing clinics and everything, you're just making it harder for people who don't live in populated areas to get that health care. So we need to make sure, as part of a good infrastructure plan and a healthcare plan, that we invest in infrastructure, increase broadband so people can actually log on and have good connectivity to be able to talk to these mental health professionals, or even their private care doctors for that matter. It doesn't just have to be limited to mental health services. But we just need to do more, not less, period.
Absolutely. Right now, I know in Charles County, the hospital is University of Maryland Charles Regional Medical Center. It used to be called Savista, and so it had to sell a while back. So how will you go about making sure that the hospitals in District 5 stay open and available? Like, what will you do in Congress to make sure that that your hospitals don't take a hit? How will you make that happen?
This is one of those rare opportunities that we have to do what Congress doesn't seem willing to do, and that's build coalitions. Because the same hospitals that we have here in Maryland District 5 or throughout Maryland are the same types of hospitals they have all throughout the country. So whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or an independent, it doesn't matter. This affects everybody the same across the board. So if you go to Congress and you're willing to reach across the aisle, you're willing to find areas where you have commonalities and you have the same purpose and you have the same need, then you can build an effective coalition to push this legislation through. And if you meet opposition, then as we've seen recently with the ACA subsidies and the e-files, you can do discharge positions. There are metrics in Congress, in both the House and the Senate. There are levers that you can use to force votes, to make things happen. If you have the coalition built, not only do you have to have the coalition built, but you got to have the willingness to do it. And a lot of times, that's what our current representatives lack. They lack the willingness to actually push that lever. So yes, it can happen. And I'll protect hospitals and clinics here, just like I'll advocate that any other representative that's in Congress would do the exact same thing in their district. So that's how you build coalitions and push the envelope and get things done, by building coalitions, having forceful backup, having the support you need to be able to put these issues on the front burner and push them forward.
Absolutely, 100%. Now, the last thing I'm going to touch on is women's health. We know that women often face, affordable prenatal care, postpartum care, and reproductive care. What solutions would you support to improve women's health outcomes?
First, I would just say that women's health care is their own business, and it's not mine. As someone who's sitting in Congress, I just think the best thing that we can do as legislators is give women the tools they need to be able to make their own decisions, and then support them in those decisions, because they're the ones that are experiencing these in real time. They're the ones having those closed door conversations with their physicians. It's their livelihood at stake. Yeah. And if we sit here as, whether you're a man or a woman, you have to understand that everybody's healthcare is their own thing. That is not for me to decide what healthcare you get or how you do it. That is between you and your doctor. Just like the A, right? It's not my business. My job is to provide the tools and assist and support. Hands down. And that is what we need to do more of, instead of trying to dictate what women can and can't do. If we stop doing that and we do a little more of what I just said, things will get infinitely better.
Absolutely. So we're gonna pass this back to Blessings to talk about public education. But I had meant to ask you. I thought I heard you said that you were aware of some plans to put a data center in District 5 somewhere, or was that something different?
No, they're trying to put one. As of right now, there's been a major pushback on the one that they were trying to put out in Largo, where the old mall used to be, and now they're trying. They had a planning commission meeting down in St. Charles County before the holidays, and now the St. Mary down in St. Mary's County, they're looking at having a planning commission meeting about the viability of putting a data center there. And they're probably going to start on Calvert County shortly. I mean, they're looking to try to put one. I don't know if they're trying to put 4 different ones, or if they're just trying to find a place for one. But right now, they are pushing these county planning commissions. They are entertaining the idea. So the residents in every county that I've talked to so far are pushing back, because throughout the district, everyone's adamant about, we don't want it here. Because we see what it's doing to Northern Virginia, how they have, I don't know how many off the top of my head they have there. I know they have a lot in Northern Virginia, and people's utility bills have skyrocketed. The quality of life, the property values, everything is being negatively affected. There is nothing good happening from these data centers.
Understood. I mean, the land is in, Southern Maryland to put one. However, like you said, it may affect the people in that area that's already struggling with things. So I do understand that. We'll see. Go ahead with public education, Ms. Blessings.
All right, so we're going to move into education. I want to say again, if anybody has any questions for Terry, you can put them in the chat or you can request up. Schools in the district are facing teacher shortage and burnout. What federal actions would you support to help recruit, retain, and support educators?
It's funny you asked this question. I had a meeting a couple weeks ago before Christmas with my daughter's teacher. She goes to Yorktown Elementary School right here off Racetrack in Annapolis, and she expressed the same problems. But her biggest concern was the teacher pipeline. And I'll get to your main question, but her issue was the teacher pipeline. Students who are in college right now or going to college, they see how the education system is being attacked and discredited in this country. And they know about the overcrowded classrooms. They know about the teacher shortage that's currently going on. They know about the low pay. They see all these things. So the principal main concern was we need to find a way to incentivize people to take post-secondary education seriously in college and then come out of that and be teachers. Because the people that are going through right now, it's so limited that when they come out and they're ready to go into a classroom, that they're being pulled in multiple directions because different states want them, because every state has a teacher shortage right now. So in order for the state of Maryland to be able to attract talent and keep it here, we have to offer competitive pay. We have to have decent facilities, and we need to get it under control on the classroom sizes. Because right now, my daughter is currently in 4th grade, and she has 27 students in her class. 27 students to one teacher, and you may or may not have a paraprofessional in school.
That's actually low.
Right here. But because it used to be when I was in school, we had 18 to 20. So it's high to me. It may not be the standard for Maryland, but it's high.
Some classes got about 25, 30.
What grade is
that? Well, my children are good and grown, but I've heard numbers that high.
Yeah, like I said, I grew up in the country too, so it might just be this is more urban than what I grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
So, but regardless, there's overcrowding all throughout the district at multiple schools and counties due to lack of teachers. They're having to consolidate classrooms and things like that to make room. Also, we have a shortage of specialists, speech pathologists, counselors, all these things. So it's more than just teachers. This is a systemic problem throughout the entire district of having those critical resources available in the schools. So, one way to handle that is we need to have federal incentives that we can give to the states in the way of grants to be able to, incentivize teachers there to increase their salaries, to offer signing bonuses for a certain amount of time to be able to incentivize these teachers to come here. And then when the teachers come here too, a lot of schools around the district are in need of some work. They need, HVAC systems. They need exterior building modifications. They need to be expanded in some areas. So there are some rundown facilities that we have. There's some really nice schools throughout the district, depending on where you live. And then there's some really, rundown schools that need to work. So we need to make sure that we have all these things in place to be able to push teachers, to stay in the districts and not come to the district for a year and then end up leaving somewhere else. And then hopefully we might get a replacement. Now, Governor Westmore has done some good things here in Maryland to try to bring down, and he's essentially cut it in half over the last year, because I think we were like 1,600 or 1,700 teachers short. Now we're down to about 850 teacher shortage. So we are making some progress, but there's still more that we can do. And even though education is really a state issue, the federal government can, provide assistance, federal funds to help the state, increase teacher pay, fix facilities, and do those things to be able to make it more robust and to make teachers actually want to pursue teaching careers. Now, on the flip side of that, what we need to do is we need to stop demonizing education. And that's mainly on the Republican side, because no one wants to work in a profession that they know they're going to struggle in, that's going to be always under attack. And I think Donald Trump has given us a unique opportunity here, given how he's pretty much decimated the Department of Education. I think once we take control of Congress, either one or both chambers, and 2028, I think it gives us an opportunity to build up the Department of Education, make it more streamlined, and strengthen it. Because most of us know that they don't actually deal in curriculum. That's at the state level. But, with the grants, the student aid, and all those things, the loans and all that stuff, we can build that up and make it stronger. Now, at the high school level, I feel like what we need to do is we need to have a greater focus on trades and apprenticeships, and even develop internships with local businesses to where, people can actually invest in trades and get into trades more, because right now trades are kind of like second thoughts. For a while it's been, you have to have a college degree, you have to go to college. But there are people out here working trade jobs, carpenters, plumbers, things like that, and they make really good livings. Because those trades are valuable, and I don't think we stress that enough. So we need to start integrating that in at the middle school level, around 8th grade, so they can carry that into high school and through high school. Like, we need to develop them young, develop that interest in being more hands-on capable, and nurture that. Let them carry it through high school. Invest in, have trades and carpentry and other avenues for them in high school. So you have a select group of the population that wants to not go to college, maybe community college, which we should make it free, by the way. I do believe in free community college. And let's have apprenticeships and internships, to incentivize people to actually go out. College isn't for everyone. And I'll say that with my full chest. College is not for everyone. So we need to make sure that we have multiple avenues where people can actually graduate from high school and begin earning a living if they choose to. Or if they want to go to college, we give them that 2-year head start. Free community college. And then that gives parents a little bit of a reprieve. While the kids going to college, the parents can actually focus on themselves and build themselves up a little bit as they're preparing for their own retirements. So there are multiple things that the federal government can do. Again, it goes all back to that willingness to actually invest in people so people can have a better future. And we can actually, and maybe, just maybe, we can get that American dream back.
Absolutely. Blessings, he just touching all your questions, huh?
I know. You saw me looking. I was like, what am I going to ask?
I'm like, it's a long answer, but we were going to ask you 4 different questions, but you didn't answer them all in one fell swoop. I love it. Go ahead, Blessings.
Absolutely. No, you said exactly what I was thinking.
I'm kind of a detail oriented person.
Yes.
No, that's great.
That's kind of my issue. That's kind of my issue with Steny Hoyer dropping out of the race, right? So, if Steny Hoyer was going to drop out of the race, now it becomes essentially an open primary, and it's more like, I hope it doesn't digress into like a popularity contest about, who's more popular. If Steny Hoyer would have stayed in the race, then it could have been about, a grassroots candidate versus the status quo, and it would have been policy oriented. Right now, I don't know how the primary is going to shake out. I don't know if it's going to be policy based or if it's going to be more along the lines like, I've been in the public view more, and I've served here, I did this. It's going to be a popularity contest, and I really hope it stays policy oriented. That's what I've been preparing myself for, is having policy debates and being able to, let people know what I'm going to do.
Understand.
Absolutely. You know what, but Melanie, I think I'm going to go into the rapid fire because I feel like he really answered the education questions very well. Again, if anybody in the chat has a question for Terry, feel free to request up or put in the chat. So we're going to do what we now call rapid fire. These are going to be quick answers, usually yes or no or 1-sentence answer. So term limits, yes or no?
Yes.
One issue in your district you think Congress ignores?
I was gonna say everything.
Okay. One thing you like to change about Washington on day one?
Being insider trading and have them divest from any businesses or investments they currently have.
Okay, and in one sentence, why should your district trust you with their vote?
Because I'm trying to run a campaign here, and I'm trying to show people that politics is personal. When I go out, I am going where people are, because you're not supposed to sit behind a desk or in front of a screen and do politics. Politics is supposed to be where the people are. The people are supposed to see you. They're supposed to know that you care. I like looking people in the eye and letting them know that I'm here for them. I'm fighting for them because I am them.
Okay, thank you. I do have one question in chat, or more of a statement. They want to know your thoughts about reparations for Black Americans.
I know this kind of goes back a long. I mean, people talk about reparations. I've talked about reparations, but I think before we can say that, I think we have to apply reparations in the current context. What does reparations actually look like? Like, what is it that you want? Do you want your 40 acres and a mule? Do you want a certain amount of money? Do you want certain laws passed that give you more inalienable rights to do things, to have more opportunity? Like, what are the reparations that you're wanting? People throw around reparations and say, we need reparations or we deserve it. But what is that? And until we, as an African American community, can articulate what that is that we want and come to a consensus, I'm afraid this is kind of where we are. We're kind of stuck in limbo. I mean, I support it. I think we do deserve that restitution for the atrocities that happened, all those years ago. But we can't just say reparations. We have to actually, and I see the question there, like, I honestly don't know what to propose. I mean, because it doesn't just affect me. It affects us all. So we as a community have to come up with what we think is suitable and justified given everything that's happened to us.
Yeah. Which would require some sort of like you said, consistency. You can't really make a plan. I think, and a lot of people would say they want all three. They want some land, they want some money, and they want more benefits. I think most people would probably say all three. But
probably right, they probably would. But I mean, what I want, what I think is important, you might not agree with. So that's where we have to kind of come together, and say, this is what we'll take. This is our reparations package. We present this to you right here.
Yeah, and as Risa, the girl who answered it, said, "I don't want land, but I want land."
Hey, land.
So yes,
land
that's what he means. Like we got to come to a consensus.
Land appreciates, though. She got a point. Land appreciates in value more often than not. So we need to have something. I will say this about reparations, though. We need to have something. If we're going to get it, it needs to be something that's going to add value, add generational wealth, give us something to pass down to our children, which is something that we haven't had. We've been denied that, given everything that's happened to us. But if it's going to be something, it needs to be something that helps us build generational wealth that we can pass on to our children.
That is the ultimate goal. That is the right blessings. That's the ultimate goal.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, we're going to go into public safety. We're going to try to, like I said, I know you're probably going to hit all of my topics, so I'm going to give you the best one. Many businesses in your district, well, it's reparations and immigration. So we're going to start with the not reparations, public safety and immigration. Residents want to feel safe, but also want solutions that prevent crime before it happens. What approaches would you support to strengthen public safety while investing in prevention, mental health, and community programs?
I'll start off saying that the public and the public safety relationship is severely fractured. And I don't ever think, maybe not in my lifetime, I'm 46, I don't think that it'll ever be mended again. It just keeps getting more and more divisive no matter what we do. Now, the safe answer for me to say is to invest more and focus more on community policing. That's the safe textbook answer for any politician, right? Community policing. But I honestly, given the current state of affairs in our country, I don't think that's viable. And I feel like the more that we have the community engaged with law enforcement, it just creates a greater risk of escalation because people are furious with everything that's going on, whether it's federal police, whether it's the National Guard being unleashed in certain cities throughout the country. There's just that friction.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know people want to feel safe, and that's understandable.
Uh-oh. You're freezing up a little bit. I don't know what's going on with the Wi-Fi.
We have to figure out a way to do that. Honestly, like I said, I don't know. Public safety, PG.
Oh, he all the way frozen, right? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, you was frozen a little bit.
Oh no, this is so good.
I know. I'm like listening.
Right, lean in a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
All right, I think you're back.
The congressional responsibility we have here, is funding, drug policy, and mental.
Cool.
Airport my area. We have the full get the key. How about now? Can you hear me now? Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. It's the connection. Something's going on with the connection.
Hello.
I don't think he can hear us. Terry, can you hear us?
Okay. So I'm good now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can hear you. I got a connection.
All right, you're at one bar, which means you're, like I said, something's with the connection.
Well, why he gets? Let's see.
Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm. No.
Hello.
Yeah, we could. Okay, let me see. There you. Let's try it.
Can you hear me? I can hear you guys just fine.
Yeah, no, it's not about the hearing. Your screen is freezing. It's something happening with the connection.
It's just me. I'm not moving.
I didn't hear what he said.
Mm-mm. You might have to move it. You know how you got to do. You got to find the spot.
Okay.
All right, that's much better. There we go.
Better?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So now what I was just saying was like there are things that the federal government can do regarding like fentanyl usage, drug overdoses. We can support the police, but we have to make sure we can support law enforcement, but we need to make sure that when we do that, the law enforcement is transparent. We need to make sure the officers are wearing body cams. We need to make sure there's accountability for abuses of authority. And make sure that law enforcement is being 100% transparent. So meaning we need to tie law enforcement actions to federal funding. If they refuse to comply with ethical standards and regulations on reporting abuses of power, and things like that, then they don't get federal funding. And we should make that clear to the states when we issue this money, that there will be reductions or cuts in police funding if they're not actually in compliance with these ethical standards. So that's one thing that Congress can do. We have to make sure that we enforce that, though. We can say it, but if we don't enforce it, then it's like it never happened.
Absolutely. So you make sure you draft that bill when you get in there, okay? Like, don't let nobody take your idea. You draft that bill and bring it to the floor. You hear me?
Okay.
All right. So as you said, the climate right now is very hostile. And most of this is behind the immigration issues. So many businesses in District 5 rely on immigrant workers in healthcare, construction, and service industries. How will you reform immigration policies? So give me an idea for a new immigration policy that meet workforce needs while maintaining fairness and security.
So let me start by saying I really hate the way that immigrants are being demonized and blamed for other people's woes. That is an atrocity in itself. And if people haven't realized by now, immigrants are really the lifeblood that keep this country going. They're the ones that take the jobs that many of us either choose not to do or just won't do out of sheer laziness or whatever the case is. Since I'm a late 90s baby, I was born in 79, so I grew up through the Reagan years and then Bush 1 and whatever, Bush 2 and all that. And I've been hearing the phrase comprehensive immigration reform since I was, a child, since I was like 7 or 8 years old and able to understand keywords and stuff. The problem with immigration as a whole is no one truly wants to solve it, because the Republican Party uses it to fearmonger, and I might get in trouble with the Democratic Party, but we use it to be the savior. So we both use it to our advantage politically. There's no benefit in solving it. One party uses it to fearmonger, the other has the savior complex. Like, we have to be the hero that, pretends like we're trying to solve the problem, but not really, because we still need it. We still need those voters to be on our side so, we can score political points. Mm-hmm. And that's the main problem, because there are easy fixes to this. And what it comes to is having a willingness, again, there's that word I keep using, a willingness to actually do it. When it comes to asylum, people coming here from like Honduras and other places where there are dictators and there's drug cartels and all these other acts of violence that drive them north, look what we did with USAID. We cut off aid. So if you cut off aid to countries where people are already struggling, they're not going to have anything there. So obviously they're going to try to leave and they're going to migrate north and they're going to come to us. So when they come here and they seek asylum, the problem is we don't have enough asylum judges. We don't have enough immigration judges. We don't have enough hearings, immigration court. We need to strengthen the asylum system in this country. Right now, there are over 3 million pending asylum cases. It costs more for the American people, for the American taxpayer, to house these immigrants when they come here, either in a detention-like facility or putting them on some kind of a release program where they can get a number, a work number, and they go out and they're tracked. It costs, I think, like $6 per day, roughly. I think that's a little overstated, but roughly $6 per day per immigrant to be tracked with GPS monitoring and things like that. So you times that by 3 to 6 million immigrants, or however many immigrants are here, seeking asylum. That money adds up. That's taxpayer money. And we could use that same money, invest in more asylum judges, more immigration courts, and we could streamline the process to get these immigrants, get their case adjudicated. If they're adjudicated and they're found to have a purpose for asylum, then yeah, okay, you're good. But if not, then we can send them packing, and they're off our books. But we drag this out because no party wants to solve it. Now, when it comes to Maryland District 5, our immigrant population You know, we took a big hit in this district when it comes to construction. Construction utilizes immigrant labor a lot. I forget the percentage, but it's a large percent. Also, the hospitality industry also utilizes immigrant labor on a massive scale. So what that does is that hurts the community, because when people want to go out and people move to this area and they want to find affordable housing, they can't find affordable housing because we don't have enough immigrants to actually work in construction to get the houses built fast enough. So if you don't have enough housing, then it becomes competitive, which means landlords can jack up rent because, hey, I've got 20 people wanting to move and they want to rent out these 3 apartments. Let me jack up the rent and see who I can get the most money out of. You know, it's simple economics that way. One thing affects another. And I don't think as Congress, they focus enough on the second, third, and fourth order effects of the decisions that they make, how it affects downstream. They only focus on the immediate. It's like clubbing the alligator right next to the boat instead of all the other ones that are out there. So you need to look at everything full picture and understand the dynamics of how this decision is going to affect everything else. But we do need comprehensive immigration. There are things that we can do at the border. We need to leverage technology. And I get so tired of hearing about an open border. Yes, people, our border is open.
Yes.
The 1,954 miles of border we share with Mexico, only about 700 miles of it is actual wall. The rest of it is forests, rivers, thickets, everything else. And people can get through there. And all the fentanyl that they say that we're bringing from Venezuela and everywhere else down south Mexico, that is mainly brought in through the ports of entry. And most of the fentanyl actually is brought in by American citizens, not immigrants.
Can't say that word, but go ahead.
Say F.
Most of the F is brought in by American citizens.
Mm-hmm.
So to disclaim all that and try to blame all that on immigrants and everything is just preposterous. And we need to leverage technology. We can have vehicle scanners, underground vehicle scanners that can scan X-ray vehicles. You know, we can employ drone technology, cameras, satellite imagery, all these other things that we can leverage at the border. You know, cut down on the number of CBP agents that we have, rely more on technology, turn these CBP officers, have them at the ports of entry, and then having roving patrols. You don't need guards stationed all across the border. Last term, Donald Trump said he built new border wall. He didn't. All he did was replace the existing border wall that had been deteriorated and run down, and he strengthened it in some areas. He didn't build anything. We only have about 700 miles of actual wall because we can't build it the entire way. So there's 1,200 miles of border wall that is unmanned and inaccessible by vehicle. So I don't think people really understand the dynamics of the border, but they sit here and talk about we've had an open border my entire life through Republican presidents, through Democratic presidents. And if we don't have a strong immigration policy that supports immigration and supports people coming to this country for a better life, then we're not going to have a better life because we rely heavily on immigrant labor for our day-to-day necessities.
Absolutely. I would dare to say the same people that say, you know, I'm not racist. I like all people are the same ones that said, I don't want to stop. I want immigrants, just not all immigrants. I don't know, right? I don't know. So we are going to maybe do one quick question on infrastructure and environment, because I feel like you already kind of touched those subjects too.
Yeah.
But maybe Blessings can find one, especially since like about the Chesapeake Bay. That's one of the
one I was
things in
gonna
your
ask.
district. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to do another quick rapid fire before we end this in about 10 minutes. Okay?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So as far as environment infrastructure, the Chesapeake Bay is critical to the environment and the way of life, but pollution and runoff remains a serious concern. What actions would you take to protect the bay while supporting local farmers, watermen, and businesses?
Well, thanks for the question. That's a really important issue. I know we have issues down there that really affect things. The main drivers of that, what really affects Southern Maryland, you know, you have the nutrient pollution down there with the erosion given, and that ends up polluting the sediment there. When that gets into the soil, it just affects agriculture and the crops down there that grow that we depend on that farmland for. There's also serious issues, and this is where we need to get FEMA involved too, with the coastal flooding and the erosion. Also, it really affects the stormwater and the drainage down there. How quickly, when the tides come in, or when we have coastal storms like nor'easters and stuff like that, how it just beats up the shoreline and all that flood water comes in. We need to make sure that we are investing in the coastline and get that water out as soon as possible. So we need to make sure we have drainage that flows smoothly. It's not damaged, and it actually flows the water out like it's supposed to back into the Chesapeake Bay. We can't have it congested. We have to make sure these systems are operational, make sure that the pipes are clean, make sure that everything is intact, that we have these agent septic systems throughout, because it's a rural area, right? To have septic systems for make sure they're not rusted and corroded and things like that. Make sure everything is flowing smooth. There's a lot of investment because that water can get into anything. So you have to make sure that you have the infrastructure taken care of, it's modernized. You do the maintenance and upkeep on it to keep things operating like it's supposed to. And erosion. I talk to people down there all the time, and they tell me that the big issue for them is the erosion of the shoreline. Every time we have a storm come through, they go down and they can just tell, the sand banks and everything are being beaten down and they're deteriorating. So like I mentioned before, we kind of need to have that investment with FEMA and the Army Corps of Engineers, get them involved, get them down there, throughout the shoreline, have them come down there, make recommendations to the state. That way the state can petition for federal funding they need to be able to have a strong coastline. And with energy, making sure that we have the windmills down there, the turbines for that wind energy. You guys hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
the wind energy.
freezing a little bit though, but we can hear you.
Okay. Let me move over there. So, yeah, like I said, the biggest thing is the shoreline erosion. I also want to make sure that, because it's sure to continue, people who actually live on the beach, pretty soon their homes are going to be underwater, or they're going to have water where their front yard used to be. So we need to make sure that, we take all precautions. Because one thing that's going to happen is if we allow this to continue, what's going to happen is another second, third, and fourth order effect is their insurance premiums are going to end up going up eventually. And insurance is going to end up getting so high down on the coast that they're not going to be able to afford to live there, because they're going to be paying astronomical insurance rates in order just to stay there because of how much of the coast has been depleted through erosion. That water level continues to creep up closer and closer. And then pretty soon those homes that they're living in on the coast are going to become uninhabitable.
Right.
And it's going to make their insurance rates skyrocket to the point where they won't be able to live there anymore.
Absolutely.
And I want to say this. Even though we asked you one question, you answer all the other questions. Because I'm listening to your response, and I was looking at my questions, and I was like, I was going to ask that. So I really appreciate that. I'll turn it back over to Melanie.
Yes. So, like I said, we're going to do another rapid fire, but this one is a little more fun. The first one we did was very political, but this one is going to be a little more fun. So we get the other side of you real quick, okay? So, 50s music or 80s music?
80s.
Okay. Android or iPhone?
iPhone.
Bagels or toast?
Toast.
Tattoos or piercings?
Tattoos.
Okay. Watch sports or play sports?
Both.
Both. Now this the real test. Mumble sauce or plain wings?
Plain and boring.
You lost my vote. No. Now let me see how long you've been in Maryland. Rare Essence or Junkyard?
What was that?
Rare Essence or Junkyard?
Junkyard.
Okay. if you go out for a day of relaxation, are you going to the National Harbor or to the mall? Not like the mall with the stores, but the mall where the monuments are.
Can I offer a C option?
It's the National Harbor. Oh, you said what's the other option? You don't like either one?
Okay, I'll answer one of yours, then I'll tell you what I would really do.
Okay.
Okay, so I go to National Harbor.
Okay.
But what I would really do is I would go for a hike. I would take a nature hike.
And where would you find hiking trails in Maryland?
I don't know, but I found one. I like to just go. I'm okay. I'm okay with a walking trail. Just take me through the woods. Let me walk. Let me just enjoy nature. Hear the birds chirp.
You wasn't by yourself. You was taking the 4 girls with you. What you mean?
Oh, they're not like me at all. They hate being outside.
So, last question, and like I said, this is one of the true tests. Commanders or Cowboys? Commander. Thank you. Okay, you got my vote back. All right. So we're gonna end this off with Blessings just giving you a nice closing question here. So take that away, Miss Blessings. Which questions would you like to end with?
All right. So I'm going to ask this one. If you're elected, or when you're elected, what does success look like for Maryland's 5th District 4 years from now? And how will your residents feel the difference in their everyday lives?
Well, in 4 years, as soon as I get reelected on my first go. But what that means is, I think it means progress has been made. There has been meaningful legislation introduced because there's layers to Congress. You have subcommittees, you have committees, and it's gotta get voted out of committee to be voted on the House floor, et cetera, et cetera. It'll go back for multiple revisions. So I think actually having either sponsored or co-sponsored meaningful legislation that attacks affordability, protects earned benefits, and restores ethics and trust in government so the people have confidence in government again. I think as long as those things are on track and progressing, I think at the 2-year mark, I think that is success. And having them passed and implemented at the 4-year mark, and actually seeing things change about the way people actually feel about how their government is working for them. I think if I can take a temperature check out in the district and people tell me that they are not as stressed, are not as upset and they don't feel as disenfranchised, because right now people are so far out of pocket when it comes to government. Like, they barely want to talk politics with me. I really have to kind of coax people into engaging with me at times because people find out you're running for office and you're the last person they want to talk to. Mm-hmm. So I think if people are a little more engaged and a little less, apprehensive about politicians and government overall, then at the 2 and 4 year mark, I would consider that a success. As long as the legislation and everything is tracking forward. Because I don't want to be presumptuous, because I'm never going to sit here and say when I go to Congress, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. Because no one politician alone can do any of that. You have to go there with ideas. You have to build coalitions. You have to, the legislation has to be discussed and debated and have all the issues worked out. That way you can get enough votes to pass. I understand there's the process. And people too. Everything is a work in progress. But right now, Congress isn't working at all. And that is the problem. And that's what has people so upset. Congress isn't even trying. But I feel like as long as you're trying, as long as you're communicating with people and you're engaging and letting them know, hey, this is what I'm working on. This is what I'm doing. You're out in the district. They see your face. They feel you're engaged. I think people will be happy with that, given what we currently have. I think that would be like night and day to most people.
All right.
All right. Well, Terry, I want to thank you for answering all our questions. I want to thank you for joining us
even before
tonight.
we ask.
What'd you say?
I said even before we ask.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So I want to thank you for joining us tonight, and I want to invite you and the audience Oh, first, I want to ask you to say where anybody could reach you at your social medias, if you have your website, for any donations, anything like that. How can people get in contact with you?
Yeah, no matter where you are in the country, I appreciate any support. I'm going to be starting phone banking in the next week or two. So I'll be needing volunteers for that. If you're in the local area, I need volunteers to come out and canvas with me, knock on doors, or help me do visibility where I'm out holding my sign, letting people know that I'm running for Congress now that Congressman Hoyer has decided to retire. There's a few other candidates in the field too, but I'm focused on my campaign and getting my message out to people. So all my social medias are Terry Jackson for Congress. You see right here, Terry Jackson for Congress. Just take off the .com. That's where you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, everything. And then my website, terryjacksonforcongress.com. You go there, you can sign up to volunteer. You can sign up for the email updates, and you can also donate there if you choose to. I will put a plug in for donations and fundraising. As a grassroots candidate, constituents really want us not to take corporate money, I'm definitely not taking APAC money ever. So that's not even a question. Corporate PAC money either, but I will engage with unions and leadership PACs. Those are a collective PAC. They're not serving anyone's particular self-interest. So I don't see a problem with those kind of PACs. Mm-hmm. But none of them have engaged with me yet because we're still so new. But as a grassroots candidate, donations are very important, and it helps keep us viable, helps keep us in the fight, helps us print materials to pass out, expand our reach throughout the district. Mm-hmm. Right now, honestly, in my campaign, I've pretty much been self-funding myself since I started. I do have some money in the campaign account, but I just haven't used it yet. I'm trying to build it up and actually use it for a viable person. When you're a grassroots candidate, you got to be strategic on how you spend money. I don't have $1 million. And the funny part, consultants that I've engaged with, they tell me that I can't run an effective campaign unless I have $1 million in the bank. That's what I've been hearing from multiple consultants. And I don't believe that's the case. I believe that if you run an effective streamlined campaign, that you can win this district for about $150,000 overall.
Well, even that's still a lot. Lord,
I think that's still a lot too. But given, if you want to advertise and you want to get print materials and distribute and hire a field operations staff, like I don't even have a campaign manager yet. I just have, it's me. It's myself. I have a treasurer and I have a graphics design social media person. It's a 3-person team right now. And then I have a few volunteers in specific counties throughout the district. And it's just us right now. So a campaign manager is talking about, we charge $10,000 a month just for a campaign manager. So, you got to take all that into account.
Wow.
So, it's one of those things where, even $5 helps. $5, $10, $20 if you got it, But ideally, the more small dollar donations that we get, the longer we can remain viable and continue to push forward and get our message. But you can do all that at terryjacksonforcongress.com. Sign up, volunteer, donate. You can read about me and my policies. You can read my about story, everything. So
here's a little tip that might be helpful. Go find someone who is in political science, that their goal is to become a campaign manager, like at a college or something. They might
not the Bowie State already.
They might do it for volunteer because they need the experience.
Yeah, I've been out to Bowie State and already engaged with their poli-sci folks.
All right. Miss Blessings, take us out.
Yep. All right. Terry, again, I want to thank you for joining us today. And then I want to invite you and the audience to our next town hall, which will be also happening tonight at 9 p.m. with Louis Davila. Mm-hmm. He's running for the state Florida District 48. And then I also want to invite you to what we call our candidates roundtable. We do those every other Sunday, where we have a panel full of candidates and you guys can talk to each other about different policies and just kind of bounce our ideas off each other and talk all things politics and running for a position. So those happen again every other Sunday. You will receive an email about that. We would love to, have you on there. Yeah. So I want to again thank everybody for coming out tonight. Thank you, Melanie, for being my other moderator tonight. This has been great. I want to remind you guys again who we are. Our vote counts. OVC, which is a nonpartisan movement uniting Americans from all walks of life to empower voters, support candidates of integrity like Terry here, and ensure every voice is heard. Through education, outreach, accountability, and action, we're building a stronger democracy, one informed vote at a time. Join us. Your vote is your power. Thank you, guys. See you at 9. Good night.
At 9.